Jai Shri Krishna, very good evening. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And for those who have a beautiful festival today, wishing you all a very happy Onam. And thank you for joining once again for the Sai Satcharita Parayan. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatre Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. We'll continue where we stopped last week, that is chapter 16, a narration about Brahma-Jnana, part 1. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra. My most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Nath. I'll continue from verse 137. The skill, the fluency of a pravachan, or the power of grasping the significance of books is of no avail. Even an intimate knowledge of Vedas and Shrutis will not explain anything. The Atman is constant and free from changes of form or nature. The body is transitory and subject to continual changes. Knowing this, he who works for his own good is aware all the time of what is proper or improper in his actions. The self-realized is always fearless and knows that he alone is and that nothing else exists apart from himself. When duality is thus wiped out totally, destruction of all sorrow results most certainly. Although it is difficult to know the Atman, which cannot be known by listening to pravachan, though mere intellect is of no use in trying to understand it, yet it can be easily realized when proper means are pursued. I hope you remember what is this chapter all about. It is a chapter where there is a seeker who comes to Baba and asks him to give him that Brahma-Jnana, that he wants to immediately know this. And through that, Baba is teaching him what it means to attain Brahma-Jnana. So here he's giving an understanding that just by listening to the pravachan is somebody is teaching something, even the satsang by itself, you cannot understand who this Atman is. But he's telling that only through he's saying here, it can be easily realized when proper means are pursued. So in the further verses, what is the proper means is what he's going to explain. In fact, in some of the previous verses, it is mentioned that most important is you need to have the grace of the Guru, the God himself and the Guru. And only through the Guru can you realize the Brahman. And because Guru Sakshat Parabrahman, the Brahman has manifested itself in the form of the Guru. And with the loving devotion, with arduous effort and seva to the divine, seva unto the lotus feet of the Guru. And when the Guru is pleased, he himself confers that benediction on you. And here further, you will understand that the Atman will really, will reveal itself to those who have surrendered unto the Guru and having overcome all the desires. And then when the only desire that you have is to know that Atman, then on its own, it will reveal itself. And we don't even know when that happens, how that happens. Nobody has an idea to that. So let's understand what it is, how the Atman will reveal itself and how do you attain that Brahma-Jnana. He who is always without desires, except for the one desire for self-knowledge, such a one, when he constantly beseeches the Atman, he alone will gain the highest gain. Absolutely. I think that's exactly what I mentioned a while ago. So your only desire has to be that you want to understand that Atman, because that should be your ultimate goal. You cannot have any other goal or any other desires in your life, because if you have the goals of having to achieve the highest in the material world, then you cannot attain spirituality at all. Being spiritual and attaining the highest spiritual being, it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I think in this chapter, Baba is making it very clear that spirituality is not for everyone. Only select few can be on the path of spiritual, but everybody else can strive hard to follow the path laid down by the Vedas and Shastras, and be on the path of goodness, be on the path of dharma, which is righteousness, so that you will get that grace of the God and find the Guru, so that you also can attain that spiritual wheel. The Atman will bestow its grace on him who bears in mind the non-duality between the self and God all the time, saying to himself, I am he, as he listens to Katha, Kirtan, etc. and meditates upon it. Absolutely. He who has never refrained from sinful behavior and has attachment, who is always unquiet and unmeditative, cannot attain this even by knowledge. Oh wow, that's very profound and quite scary too, because it's very, very clearly said. He who has never refrained from sinful behavior. So what is the sinful behavior? See, what happens is, when when you understand that this is who you are, like example, I am this body, I am this mind, I am this senses. So what happens is, we are swaying between the pairs of opposites. So we are coming into contact with our senses constantly. Our eyes are seeing, we are hearing to things, we are speaking. So the sinful behavior could be anything. You get angry, you get upset, you're attached to too many things, you have desires, you're irritated, you're a miserable person, then you're behaving badly with people. All that put across to be a sinful behavior. Not just that, the sinful behavior itself is when you do not respect God, you do not respect authority, you do not follow the path of the religious path. The spiritual is at least a different path altogether, but at least even the path of dharma, the path of being on the sattva, which is goodness, all those things. There are a lot of things. You need to have virtues, you cannot practice vice. There's so many different things. Actually, you should go and listen to my Krishna Guruji satsang on Krishna knows. In Uddhav Gita, Lord Shri Krishna has taught what are those qualities of those who can attain the highest spiritual wheel. Forget about those who can attain the highest spiritual wheel. Actually, Lord Shri Krishna has given what is the real meaning of each of the word. Example, like what is freedom, what is being fearlessness, what is charity, what is non-injury, what is non-violence. Many such words. You need to go and listen to it. It's very beautiful. You'll understand what is the true meaning. This truth is not imparted by anybody. No material in the material world, nobody gives you the meaning, the real, the true meaning of what it means. This is what is being imparted by Lord Shri Krishna himself. The last message of Shri Krishna to Buddha before he leaves this world, before before his death from this material world. So you need to go and listen to it to get the real understanding. It is not the dictionary term. There is a profound meaning, and to live those words, it's not a joke. See, it is easy said than done, but you have to practice. It's not going to come overnight, but you have to strive hard. Everybody has to go through. See, even if I am on the spiritual path, doesn't mean anything is coming to me easily. I will have to go through my own journey. Each his own. I have to face my own tests, and I have to overcome that, and then keep growing. And I keep telling this word, it's Athanga Sagar. It's limitless ocean. How deep can you dive? That's that much of deep depth you can go into, and yet you cannot understand the breadth or the vastness of that knowledge or the divinity. It's very beautifully narrated by Adi Shankaracharya. Once what happened was, I'll give you a very beautiful story here. Adi Shankaracharya was with few of his students at Sringeri Sharda Math. He was standing at a very beautiful place near that river. This is the story, and the same experience was given to me personally by my Krishna Guruji. So we went on a pilgrimage. I was with my Guruji, and I was standing in the same place. And he told me that, right at this place, Adi Shankaracharya was standing with few of his students, and this is the story he narrated. He said one of his students was telling him, how great Lord Adi Shankaracharya was, because he has all the knowledge, he knows everything, he's so perfect, and different things. He was praising his Gurudev. And so Adi Shankaracharya said to his disciple, can you go and fill water from your in your palm and bring it? So his disciple wondered, oh my God, how can I fill the water in my palm and bring it? So that was his question. But he said, go. So the disciple followed and he obeyed. So he went there to the river and he filled the water in his palm. And by the time he would come, all that water would drop off, right? And when he said, then he says, pour it in my palm. He would just do like this. This would only one or two drops. So he repeated this exercise a few times. And after that, then Lord Adi Shankaracharya said, what do you see here? How much water have you been able to pour here? A few drops. He said, this is all the knowledge I have. If Lord Adi Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shivji, if he is saying this, imagine we are mere mortals today and we are striving to understand Brahma-Jnana. Wow, it's such an interesting thing. We want to understand the knowledge of truth. You think it is so easy. And Adi Shankaracharya is somebody who renounced his life. He was a renunciate. He's a sannyasi, and he went on. He had a purpose, and he composed a lot of beautiful. The praises to Lord Sri Krishna, and also he has talked about the goddess, the beauty of the goddess in Saundarya Lahari. He's describing so many beautiful things, and there are other scriptures where he has talked about the truth of what it means, like Viveka Chudamani, and many other scriptures which Adi Shankaracharya has written. So he talked about what is this truth all about. So see, everybody came to teach. Everybody had a job when they manifested for a certain reason. And if the great Almighty themselves are saying this, then imagine you and me. So you think we can attain knowledge just like that? No. And the divine, when they manifest in the body, they also go through their journey. They go through their process. They have to go through their practice. They have to do their sadhana. It is not going to come so easily. And that moment when my Guruji narrated this story, I realized, imagine, my master, my Gurudev himself is the Lord Almighty. He is that Parabrahman. And imagine he's saying this. He also has gone through his own sadhana. It's not come to him just on a platter, just because he is who he is, though he has just manifested in that body. But the moral of the story or the lesson here means you cannot have that knowledge. All you can have is that one drop. But that drop itself is so profound. So with that drop, you need to attain your spiritual be. It's not about trying to say, I need to attain this, I need to attain that. Leave it to your guru. He will put you on the path. What you have to get, you will anyways get it. But it is your effort. Like again, in the few verses last week where we learned, it is only through arduous effort. The path is going to be full of challenges, obstacles. You have to overcome your mind. It is not so easy. Even I strive hard. In the sense, my Gurudev will still say, oh, it's not enough. What do you mean you're striving hard? You're not doing anything. That is the way the master will teach. He's never going to say, oh, you're perfect, you've done great. No, don't even expect any praises from the divine. And he's always going to tell you, you're falling short. Yeah, we will have to fall. We have to get up and run. That's how the spiritual process is. The spiritual process is very painful. It is not easy. So be very clear about this. If you think you're just going to get it so easily with the grace of Guru and service unto him, even then it is not going to work, because you have to put effort, and that is what we will be learning here. He who has never, okay, this is fine. He who acts according to what the Shruti and Smriti commend and eschews what is forbidden, whose mind is always concentrated in meditation, such a one has the Atman in his power. He who is free from sinful behavior and surrenders himself humbly at the feet of the Guru, whose desire for the fruit of action has ceased, only such a one can attain the Atman. See, here there is a criteria very clearly mentioned. What is the requirement to attain the Atman? He who is free from sinful behavior and surrenders himself humbly at the feet of the Guru, whose desire for the fruit of action has ceased, only such a one can attain the Atman. Oh my God, this is so powerful. Again, I think I just explained what this sinful behavior means. You need to go and listen to my Gurudev's satsang. It is extremely important. It talks about How do you need to conduct yourself in this world? How do you need to conduct yourself? How do you behave? How do you be? What are the virtues? How do you imbibe? How do you live a righteous life? That is extremely important. No, second thing is surrender unto the feet of the Guru. See, the surrender doesn't happen so easily. And I'll again repeat this beautiful story which I've learned, which I've read in Nityanand Maharaj life story. And in that one page of the lesson is all I take, and I've always it has stuck in my heart. And that is the once your heart is purified and the mind gets purified, then the surrender unto the lotus feet of the Guru happens, not before that. But you have to go through the purification process, and the purification process is very painful. Your Guru Dev, what is he going to do? He's going to put that acid and clean with, and it's going to be very painful. You're going to scream murder, but that is how it works. But only with your self effort can you overcome. At that time, all you need to have is the faith in him, faith in his teachings, and you have to live that. It is not going to happen so easily. As you evolve, your mind gets stronger, your ego comes, your ego becomes very stronger, and it just doesn't allow you to grow. And that overcoming that mind is extremely important. But only with the grace of the Guru it happens very beautifully. I've gone through this many times and continue to go through that. Tests come in dime a dozen, in the ways and forms that you cannot even imagine. And you get so hung up. Why? Because you think everything is happening to you. The most important knowledge is that you're not this body. Nothing is affecting you. You are the pure divine, that Brahman yourself. But this understanding is not so easy to get. That is exactly why we are learning, and this is exactly what Baba is teaching here. So we get lost in the Maya of this world, which is all unreal, and it feels so real because we feel this. I am this body. So the whole idea is you need to overcome that. For overcoming, first your surrender has to happen. And surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Guru means it's not so easy. We think when we fall at the Guru's feet, we are surrendering. That is not what surrender means. See, when we touch the Guru's feet, yes, we respect that Lord Almighty. We respect the knowledge incarnate. But what we don't understand is that is not surrender. Surrender means you have to give up, let go of your mind, your body, your ego, your senses, everything. You become the clay in the hands of the Guru. And then the Guru will mold you how he wants you to be. He'll sculpt you in the most beautiful, the divine, the God. He'll give you that, we'll say, right, the akar, or the that who you have to be, that divine being. He'll give you that form. He'll give you that new clothes, everything. But first you need to become the putty in his hands, which is nothing but the clay. And then he will give you what he has to give you. But to become the clay is not so easy. This word of surrender is not just saying that, oh, I fall at my Guru's feet means surrender happens. No, it is not that. You have to give up everything. You just need to become the tool. He's the puppet and you're the puppeteer in his hands. He's going to make you dance to his tunes. That is who you have to be. Everything has to be his way, not your way, not your mind's way. And this is not an easy thing to achieve. That is why it says in that story where Nityanand Maharaj has taught that first is the purification of heart, and then the purification of mind. And only after that the surrender unto the lotus feet of the Guru happens, not before that. So the surrender itself is a very difficult word. What we are talking is, it's not so easy to attain devotion. The first word is absolute faith. So only when you have that faith can you surrender. Surrender, again, before that there are criteria. We think these 4 words are so simple. First, it is faith. Then when you have faith, you will listen to the Guru. You will listen to your Guru, and then you will do accordingly. You will practice, you will do your sadhanas, whatever that it takes for you. So as you evolve through that, the purification of the heart happens, the purification of the mind happens. Once that is complete, then the next step comes, which is surrender unto the lotus feet of the Guru. And it is complete surrender. It is not 1%, or I surrendered 99%, but 1% I don't know. It is 100% you will surrender. You will just go in front of him. You become naked. Naked means not in the physical sense naked. Naked means you have overcome your mind. You've completely removed all the skanchukas that you have within you. And then you surrender with a pure heart and a pure mind. Then the surrender happens. And after that comes unconditional pure love. Oh my God. Because only when the purification of heart has happened, then the surrender has happened, then the divine grants you that pure love, unconditional. It cannot be conditioned. You cannot say, you cannot have conditions. Conditions is only material worldly love. That is why in the material world, they say, oh, people say love, oh, I love, he's the, I'm married to him for 25 years, I love him, or whatever, right? People talk about that as a love. It could be even motherly love, brother, whatever love. But all of that has condition. Why? Because there you're associating yourself with this body. It is a material worldly relationship. Here it is a relationship with the divine, who becomes all your relatives. He's your father, he's your mother, he's your husband, he becomes all of that. So then there is no condition over there. It is unconditional. Unconditional means no, you cannot say, oh, only if you do like this or behave to me in this way, then only I love you. So that is a very important experience that you have to evolve, and you have to practice that. It's not going to come so easy. You think what, one day, 2 day, by listening here, Baba has said, just listening to pravachan, can you attain any knowledge? No, you can't. You have to go through that process, and then comes the devotion. The devotion is granted by the divine himself. People think, even on the path of bhakti, it is so easy to attain this devotion, or, oh, I have a guru. You might have a guru. What difference does it make? But if you cannot reach any of this, that is the whole point. This whole process is no joke, and it is not easy. And that is why I keep saying the spirituality is not for weak-hearted, and spirituality is only for those chosen ones. You cannot say, I want to be in spiritual. Yes, definitely. And I think there is a very beautiful verse which my Guruji was reading out to me from Uddhav Gita. And even in this, we read in one of the verses where Baba says this. The reason why the divine beings do miracles or fulfill your wishes and satisfy you in your material worldly desires, so that you can come to them for spiritual weal, so that you come with an ask saying, I want my spiritual weal, not for anything else. They are not interested in granting you anything, because the moment they give you material worldly things, you will further going to go in the gutters. You're never going to come on the path of spiritual at all. But the only way they do it, because you get that faith in them. The first word has to come. And faith comes for the stupid material worldly people. They have to see miracles. They need something tangible that they have to get in their world. Only then the faith comes. But the divine beings still grant you, so that you can turn towards God. That is the only reason why they do this. I hope you understood what I explained so far. Let's see what Baba has to say further. Okay, so here it says, and surrenders himself at the feet of the Guru, who desires for the fruit of action whose desire for the fruit of action has ceased. Only such a one can attain. Yeah, whose desire for fruit of action. See, it's again a very interesting thing. Everything that we do with an idea that I need to get this at the end of the day. The end result is I'm going to win, I'm going to get so much money. Or it's like we are always looking for a return on investment. If I invest my time, my energy, my job, I'm working for something, I put my effort, I'm going to equal to what is that end result I'm going to get. Am I going to be successful? Am I going to get recognition? I'm going to get name, I'm going to get fame, so many other things, right? Even when we come to on spirituality also, oh, I should attain highest spiritual wheel, I should attain Brahman, I must get entry into Golok Vrindavan. That is why I'm going to serve, my Gurudev. If I come with that intention, I'm sorry, you forget about entry into Golok. You're not even going to get entry into a hell also. That is exactly what it is. It is, again, I keep telling this, it is not your choice. It is not your prerogative. It is for you to put your effort alone. You cannot expect what should be the end result at the end of the day. You cannot come with that desire as well. And here it is said, you have to give up all the attachment to the end result, what the fruit of action. You cannot be attached to that. So such a being is the one who is eligible to attain this knowledge, or to attain Atman, is what is being mentioned here. He who is free from sinful behavior and, okay, this we have done, without becoming free from sensual desires, without desiring anything else but the Atman, and without a cessation of all the natural propensities and affections of the mind. It is very difficult to know the Atman. I think we've discussed enough. Propensities of mind. Oh my God, the mind is the root cause of all your miseries, because it is the one who's constantly telling you all the wrong things. It doesn't want you to go on the path of spiritual. It doesn't want you to rise above. It's always an obstacle. And Lord Shri Krishna has said, when you practice, when you are devoted to me, it is my belief that you will be able to control the mind. The word is control. What it means is you have to control the horses running wild, thither, thither, thither. When you surrender to the divine, he will take charge, and then you will be able to guide it properly, to show you the right path. That is what you need to attain. You cannot overcome the mind. You can only control it. Because where is the mind? Can you ever catch it? Because it's a creature. You cannot find it. It's always incognito. You cannot see it. It's very interesting, and you don't know when it will raise its ugly head, and then it'll strike you, and it'll put you into this grief of too many things. Oh my God. So never go into that zone. It's very dangerous. Seeing the austerity and penance of the seeker, the Atman itself will be roused to pity, and only then will it manifest its true nature. But this is not easy at all unless one has a guru. Oh my God, this is such a profound and such an important verse. Seeing the austerity and penance of the seeker. So you all come back to the practice, efforts. How much are you putting your effort in doing your spiritual sadhana? That is very extremely important. How much do you practice austere life, living an austere life? What kind of penance are you doing? So it is seeing all of this. The Guru Agya is very important. Actually, it is extremely beautiful, and I'm going to repeat that. The true meaning. How should you pray? What does it mean? I narrated a very beautiful shloka, and I will read it once again here. It's called Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti, Puja Moolam Gurur Padam, Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Gurur Krupam. That is exactly what it means. Now, Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti, which means the idol of your worship. You have to always do dhyan, meditation. Actually, in one of the verses we just did it. You need to be in that meditative state. You have to meditate on the form of your guru. Even you can meditate on his lotus feet. Anything, any aspect of your guru, you can meditate. You have dhyana moolam gurur murti. Murti is the entire form of your guru dev. You have to meditate on that. Then puja moolam gurur padam. Worshipping the lotus feet of the guru is the highest form of puja that you can perform. If people do not understand the significance and the greatness of these words, it is extremely profound. Mantra moolam guru vakyam. It means the root of the mantra. Mantra is whatever the word the guru says to you, that has to be your mantra. You have to chant that, and you have to obey that. Like in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, we say Guru Bani. The word of the Guru is the gospel truth. So that should be, your Guru's word has to be your command, and you have to abide by it. But what happens on the path of spirituality? You will oppose that word. And let me tell you, everybody goes through this. You will oppose that word. Your mind will say, don't listen to him. Your mind is always going to be between you and your Gurudev. And this is the obstacle you have to overcome. And this is not an easy thing. It is the most difficult thing. But with that faith in your Guru, he will help you evolve through the journey. Okay. But he always sees your effort. That is what is being taught here. Seeing the austerity and penance of the seeker, the Atman itself will be roused to pity, and only then will it manifest its true nature. It will pity you, seeing your effort. How much is your effort? That is how the divine reveals. He'll put his disciple to and devotee to such a great test. He'll see how much faith, even in those miserable times. Are you clinging to him? Are you saying, God, I still want you. I have faith in you. No matter what you put me through, even if you crush me under your feet, I love you. I have that faith. That is what he wants to see. Because it is easy to get angry at the time and say, God, are you don't even have mercy on me. Why are you putting me through this? And you can walk out. See, falling out of this is very easy, but being into that is extremely difficult. And that is why it says, Moksha Moolam Gurur Krupam. The root of moksha is Guru's grace alone. Without Guru's grace, you cannot. So why? And here, what are we saying? The Atman takes pity. Means what? The Guru Dev, who's the Atman himself, he's the Paramatma. He's that Brahman who has manifested in the form of the Guru. Then he takes pity on you. And that grace, when he sees your devotion, when he is pleased with your devotion and that sincerity, that faith, and then he gives you that experience. That is what it means. Only then will the self-knowledge come easily, not otherwise. And this is very profound. So don't forget these 4 lines, always keep reminding yourself what it means. It's not just simply written for the heck of it. There is a reason and there is a divine and a profound truth beyond each of these words. It is not so simple that you can understand it just by reading merely. You need that Guru's grace to attain this knowledge, to attain that Atman, to understand that self. It will reveal itself. That is why we say self-realization. That moksha can come to you only with the grace of the Guru and nobody else. Even God cannot grant you that. Do you know that even the God or the demon has to take a human birth, and they have to go through that process of meeting a Guru and learning under a Guru to attain the divine? It is not so simple. So don't think that it is anybody's cup of tea to attain the spirituality. There are a lot of people, even today, my Guruji, in Das Bodh Satsang, he was talking about how somebody was asking, why should spirituality be not easy for everybody? Why should it be select few? And then he gave a very beautiful example. What was his example? Why do in Harvard or IITs of this world, or in the top management institution, only the top candidates get there? Who are achieving that, who are clearing that entrance exam, they come in certain ranks. Why do we want that competence? Why do we want people with that intellect? So that after they qualify, whatever, they become the doctor, they become whatever specialist, and then they are able to conduct whatever that skill it is there in a very professional capacity. Even they can give their highest expertise. They can become the expert in that field, and they should master. They have to become the highest in that, and they have to be the masters of their field. And similarly, he gave a very beautiful example. Say, assuming today you're sick, somebody has to conduct a very fine surgery, which requires high skilled specialist or a surgeon. And would you want any ordinary people who have just got the seats because they have paid money, or somebody has just helped them influence to get a seat and medical seat, and then they have become doctors who are not even serious about it? So that is what it means. See, you need to be serious about wanting this. Everybody cannot become a doctor, or everybody cannot become a top engineer. They should be passionate about it. Passion means they have to be dedicated to that service. Not anyone and everybody can become a doctor or a professional in some subject which requires that kind of hard work. And hard work means you have to give your life to it. So you don't want any spare doctor coming in, doing a surgery on your parents or yourself who is not qualified enough, or he has just passed for the heck of it. I don't want to name the person or the country, but I've seen people, when I've gone for a checkup with some specialist, they open their, I don't know, whatever book is that, and they go by what is written in as part of the medical terms. And they said, look, this is what is mentioned here. Oh my God, in India, I have never experienced any specialist opening up his, I don't know, whatever, the textbooks, and telling me this is what is mentioned here. I'm sorry. We Indians are very, very good in our subjects. We have some of the best creme de la creme doctors and medical experts, you name it. We're specialists in that field. They're committed to that. And today we have a family doctor. He understands not just medicine, but he understands the human body, the metabolism, their how they are tuned, how their mind works. So he's not giving you medicine just by reports. Reports is just whatever the body is trying to throw at that point. And see, today if I go for a test, my report will be coming something. Tomorrow if I go there, it might change. But it's only an indicator. but the doctor needs to understand your entire mind, psychology, your eating habits, your lifestyle, your history, geography, everything, and then he has to treat. Today these kind of doctors don't exist. We are very lucky to have some, hardly few of them who has left. All the future, the doctors who we meet are very much drawn into money making. They are only calculating how much money can I make. That is not what this is. This is service. I would like to give you a very beautiful example of the family doctor that I know of. In their entire life, they've served their husband and wife. One was a general physician and one was a gynecologist, and they used to see the patients in their home. They had small clinic in their residence, and the highest fees that they have ever charged before they retired, I think after like 30-40 years of their service, to the humankind, the last fees that they have collected is 50 rupees per patient. And if the patient was very poor, they will not even take that money. This is called real service. How are you so good today? And that is what is mean. And spirituality is also like that. You cannot say that you need to be given that spiritual wheel just because you are some born human being. What makes you think you deserve it? Please, deservability comes only with your innermost, craving or being wanting that, and that you have to show. And that deservability is only gauged by the divine, by Guru himself. And he actually gauges you. He's going to put you through those tests and see how you fare. And how, depending on how you fare, he knows where to position you. And see, there are a lot of people could not take many of his disciples could not take those tests. And just a little test, and they have called him names and they left him and gone. That is another greater sin to do, where calling him names and leaving him and go away. But the Guru's grace is always there. But it is the human mind and ego which will not allow them to come back, because the ego says, I am right. He's doing this to me, he's doing that to you. But know this, your Guru has the right to even crush you under his feet, put you through all the difficult circumstances to only see how much faith you have. This is who a real master is. So please know this, spirituality is not for everybody. There are qualifications, criteria you have to meet to be eligible to get into that. I hope this is very clear. This worldly life is filled with ignorance, and its widely spread manifestation also originates from ignorance. Know well that without knowledge, moksha or salvation has no place at all. So again, if you look, I'm going to reread this. This worldly life is filled with ignorance, and its widely spread manifestation also originates from ignorance. Know well that without knowledge, moksha or salvation has no place at all. So knowledge is important. Why knowledge is important? Only with the sword of knowledge can you cut asunder the ignorance. Otherwise, you cannot. But please know that knowledge also has no use when you have to attain devotion. You have to chuck that knowledge that you have learned to overcome your ignorance, because you want to attain devotion. So you cannot even have that knowledge. That is very important. This is what Lord Shri Krishna says. You have to transcend and give up that knowledge also. To experience the truth of the Shastras, reasoning power and ingenuity of mind are necessary. But knowledge comes only after the illusion of worldly life is destroyed, without which it is impossible. He alone is a great soul who moves in the world, realizing that every living being, a saint or a sinner, is God himself. For he alone sees the non-duality between God and his creatures. Again, this is a very important part and a very important lesson to live on the path of spirituality, which is you have to overcome the duality. You cannot say somebody is a God and somebody is a sinner. So this duality will put an obstacle for you from evolving on the journey. And it is a very, very, very difficult stage to be. It's a stage, it's a process. You will arrive at every different stages, and you have to cross over that. So that is why we have to practice. That is why this knowledge is imparted, so that you can apply that knowledge at that stage to overcome that particular obstacle. So seeing God in everything. How do you see God in everything? It doesn't matter. This is what Lord Shri Krishna has been teaching in all his scriptures, be it Uddhav Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, or Shri Bhagavad Gita. That is what is being taught. You have to be able to see God in everything. And this is a very important aspect to crossing over that milestone, that you have to cross that stage. And this is where, the mind gets very stronger, and it says, I can only see God in few, I cannot see God in somebody. But that cannot happen. God or a sinner, both is one. That is what is, I'm sorry, saint or a sinner, both are God himself alone. You cannot see the saint and a sinner as separate beings. And that is a very interesting stage, because you think somebody is a sinner and while somebody is a saint. This cannot happen. You need to be able to see God in everything. And that faith, when it comes, then you will be able to transcend. And that requires self effort, which means you have to overcome your mind. You have to practice seeing divinity in everything. So, for he alone sees the non duality between God and his creatures. So, you have to become that great soul. So, that is why we all go back to where we started. So, coming to this stage is the most important aspect. And once you can see God in everything, then it is easy to transcend. The experience of oneness between God and the self is the end of all knowledge. Once self knowledge comes, all ignorance will disappear. When the self is realized fully, nothing more remains to be known. Due to his actual personal experience, everything is known to the seeker as a thing in the palm of his hand. How beautiful it is. So this says God is in the palm of your hand once you realize the self. He enjoys the fruit of this Brahma-Jnana in his complete liberation from the worldly life, in an immediate experience of bliss and an abundance of moksha. How sweet is this? Obviously, I cannot describe this word because you have to experience it yourself. To get to this stage is the real achievement. It's the ultimate goal in a human being's life. How beautiful it is! It's so sweet to read it. But imagine if it is so sweet to read it, how beautiful it would be to attain and get that experience. It is only to enable the intellect to comprehend its all pervasiveness that the Atman is described as subtler even than the subtle and larger even than the large. In itself, the Atman is neither subtle nor large. The distinction of comparative size is here imaginary. This Atman fully pervades the whole creation, from Brahmadeva to the tiniest shrub. It's both the microcosm and the macrocosm. Indescribable as this Atman is, and though it is in itself infinite, it is limited by putting it into speech, so the intellect may be able to grasp it. Yes, you cannot put it to speech, you cannot describe it with words. That is exactly what is being said here, but they're still trying to somehow describe it so that your intellect can grasp it. The true essence of the Atman will never be grasped on the strength of a powerful intellect. Its attainment comes from this grace of the sadhu, saints, and the Sadguru, which is the fruit of the devoted service to them. I think we've discussed this enough. What kind of service do you need to do unto the Guru? That is extremely important, and you have to wear yourself out. You have to serve him so much. You have to serve him with faith, the devotion, love, everything that you have with. You have to offer yourself to him, and this is a very beautiful. I think this entire scripture will keep talking about it, and we'll learn more and more about it. Okay, is there any dearth of ready detailed descriptions of the Brahman in the sacred books and the pothis? But so long as the Sadguru does not bestow his grace, however hard one may try, one can never attain the Brahman to the end of this world. Oh my God, I think this is the final verdict here. No matter how hard you try, it is a waste effort, because without the grace of your master, the Guru, the Sadguru, the saint, you cannot attain this Brahma-Jnana. As simple as this. In the absence of the daily religious rituals and observances, when the mind is not purified by their influence, the Brahman can never be known and experienced. So, which means what? You have to every day very religiously practice whatever that you're doing, whether it is, worshipping to the God, whatever that you have practicing. In absence of daily religious rituals and observances, when the mind is not purified by their influence, oh my God, that's very profound. You have to practice your religious rituals and and observances. It's only simply so that you're put on that path, you're tuned to that. That doesn't mean doing some elaborate stuff. It simply means every morning you get up at a certain time, you do your duties, and you go and light your lamp, pray to God, say whatever simple prayers that you want to. But you need to practice. Those observances are important, because that is what will evolve you. It will develop your spiritual fervor. It'll keep you tuned to that. That's why we say satsangs, keep the company of the holy. You have to do your worship, you have to say your prayers. Those are all important part of your life. Otherwise, you can't purify. First of all, if you don't have any of those observances, or you don't do the basic rituals, then it's a very difficult thing. We're not talking about the elaborate ritual. Even just going to your temple, offering flower, offering a naivedya, and lighting a lamp and saying the beautiful prayers. Begin with the day with that faith. It's so divine. It gives you that divine feeling. You can carry toward, to throughout the day. You can be that very positive, charged. Why do we do all of this? There is a reason why we practice these things. It's not about just eating and saying this is what it is. Even to, worshipping the guru means you have to give him that praises to the guru has be sung, which means that is when you do all these practice, the guru gets pleased, because all the gods and goddesses that you're worshipping rests within your guru himself. So when you worship him with all these, the entire cosmos, the entire universe, the entire pantheon of gods and goddesses get that offering. That sacrifice is accepted by that divinity. So you need to understand how important this is. When the mind is not purified by their influence, so that will help. When you do all of this, it will help your mind purify. It will purify your mind. It will influence. But if you don't do any of this, your mind is not going to get influenced, and it's not going to get purified at all. So the Brahman can never be known and experienced. It is a truth thrice proclaimed that only the Brahman is constant, all else is transient. All that meets the eye is without constancy. Rare is the speaker who can describe the Brahman. Rare also is the listener who is pure of heart. But rarer still is it is to get the Sadguru who is loving and self-experienced. Oh my God, how beautiful it is. Rare is the one who can describe the Brahman. Nobody can describe, because Brahman is indescribable. You just can only experience. That is what it is. Then rare also is the listener who is pure at heart. Who is pure at heart today? Everybody is living in that muck of life, the miserable life. Everybody is worried about their, old age, their like middle age, their education, my job, my husband. I want this, I want that. Oh my God, sickness, health. They're fearful of death, what not. But who has a pure heart today to listen to this? You need to listen with a pure heart. Your heart has to be purified. Otherwise, you cannot attain any of this. And still rarer is to get the Sadguru who's loving and self-experienced. The Sadguru is epitome of love. He's love incarnate. Nobody can love the way he can love. Not even your worldly parents who have given birth to this body can love you. No relation, nobody, as much as that Sadguru can give you that love. He's the epitome of love. He's the personification of love. That is who my Krishna Guruji is. He's the love incarnate. If you can come in his presence, his love is so much overflowing that he bears himself out. Why? Because he wants your spiritual being. He cares about you. His ultimate goal is that you become that divine. That is all he cares about. He wants you to be the divine being and serve this universe, serve this man, this humankind. That is what he wants us to do. He wants us to offer ourselves selflessly in the service of this universe and attain that highest spiritual being, and not get carried away in the worldly delusions of Maya, which is unreal. And he's self-experienced because he's the Brahman himself. There is nothing for him to know. There's nothing for him to achieve. So when you have this kind of a rare gem in your life, don't waste your life. This is a very beautiful update my Guruji has put in his post, saying that, it's so difficult to find a real master. It's not in everybody's destiny to find. But when people have this divine master with them, they're very busy attending to their own worldly life, doing all other things. And the only time they will come to him when they need something. Everybody's a beggar in his shrine. You should know this. There is, whether you ask 1,000 rupees, you ask 10,000 rupees, or 1 million or a billion, but everybody is still a beggar. Nobody's coming there to wanting that spiritual will, which is a very sad thing. They don't value this rare gem. So please value when you have this. It is very unfair and unjust done to the divine when you have him. So live today. Go learn what he's teaching and stand up to that. It's difficult to overcome the mind, but you have faith in him. He will help you. Just open that up. He will make you overcome that. He will make you cross over. It's not easy. It's not difficult when you have his grace, when he's holding your hand and walking you. So what is there to fear? Baba, same thing Baba says, why fear when I'm here? So be fearless and go on that journey and value that rare gem. He's priceless. No price can buy. There is no price tag attached. He's the most precious and a priceless one. Please know this. Is Brahman a thing to be God for asking? Great yogis inhabiting secluded mountains and caverns, caught up in self-imposed austerities and disciplines and engrossed in deep meditation. Very interesting question. Even they have not been able to perceive the Brahman without the Guru's grace. Then how can it be attained by a person like you, who are a personification of greed itself? Wow, so beautifully Baba says. People go, to Himalayas and try to do all that, they bend their body, Ashtanga yoga, not a Kriya yoga. What all nonsense people try to do, they sweat and they wear themselves out. But even after doing all that, the question here is, can they attain Brahman? No, without a Guru's grace, you cannot. Moksha moolam gurur krupam. Don't forget this. Without that krupa from your Guru, you cannot. So Guru is the doorway to God. Please embed this within your heart. It is not such an easy thing. And he's saying, then how can it be attained by a person like you, who are personification of greed itself? This is what we human beings are, like this greed, personification of a greed. What makes you think you're eligible for this Brahma-Jnana? Please ask yourself, go look at yourself in your mirror and see what kind of a human being you are. Don't even come and say that I need Brahma-Jnana. You think what Brahma-Jnana is given, it's sold in market, is it? And you can use your greed to get it? Of course not. You think even by giving that money you're going to get? No. You need a pure heart. You need to be capable. That is why the gurus put you through the test to see how deserving are you, how much effort, how much it means to you. It's not so easy. While listening to the spiritual discourse, when the mind yet meditates on sensual pleasures and reflects incessantly on matters of worldly life, then the self-realization that comes is also of the same kind. Oh my God, this is even scarier now, okay? So please listen to this very attentively. While listening to the spiritual discourse, when the mind yet meditates on sensual pleasures and reflects incessantly on matters of worldly life. You know what? We have a dirty habit about, yes, we say, okay, we are listening to satsangs, we want to listen, we are doing. But you know what? In our mind, there's something else going on in the background. Yes, at least I make an effort to sit for the satsang. But in my mind is thinking all about material worldly thing. Oh, I have this problem. I'm angry with somebody. Oh, tomorrow my job, my boss has asked me for a presentation. No, I forgot. Oh, I have to pay this bill. Oh, no, somebody's coming to meet me. Oh my God, 100 things is going on in your mind. You think you're sincere to that? No, you need ekagrata, single-pointed devotion. This is not a joke. Every aspect is so difficult. You think it comes so easily. You sit there and you sleep, or you yawn, or you're thinking so many different things. No, you're doing disservice to it. Please know this. This is God himself. Every word here is God. This book is Baba himself. Nobody else here. Any scripture is the divine himself. And the divine is the one who's narrating this to you. Please know that even this body is just a mortal human being. It is the words, the wisdom, the words are of the wisdom of the divine themselves. They use as this body as a conduit to convey those messages. It's not me. This what is taught here goes for everybody. There are no exceptions to any rule. So please be very careful next time when you're listening to any spiritual discourse. Have that ekagrata, single pointed devotion, because you have to concentrate, listen with a deep attention. Only then that knowledge will percolate you. Otherwise it will not. And incessantly on matters of body life. Then the self-realization that comes is also of the same kind, which means whatever the self-realization that happens is often very mediocre or even below mediocre. See, there are levels of self-realizations, okay? And so you just can attain a tip of the tip of the iceberg. That's it. It's at a surface level. That doesn't make you great. but to achieve the ultimate is the highest wheel. So that is what he's saying. So as much of is your effort, so are your experiences and what you will attain. It is always equivalent to your effort. Nothing is less, nothing is more. And this is something my Guruji always teaches, it's how much effort are you putting. That is what you will get the results as well. It's arduous effort will give you that amount of result. But if you have no effort or it's very minimal effort, you're also going to get that kind of result. So don't tell, oh, I work really hard. That's one thing my Gurudev doesn't like. He'll always say, okay, how much do you work? Hardly work. What are you doing? You're doing nothing. So this is what he teaches. It doesn't mean he's saying he's teaching anything wrong. He's teaching you actually wake up and do more. You're capable of doing more. So why are you giving that you're hard working? Your mind is always limiting, putting limitations, and it's creating inadequacies. Please don't do this. That is what he's teaching here. So please listen intently. Never let your mind talk. Because for the knowledge to percolate, you need to have a very pure mind and full attention to what is being taught. So impure negative emotions like anger, envy, etc., ascription of the false, vikshape, and veiling of the true avaran are the three sources of error for the mind. Actions performed without an expectation of fruit remove the impure negative tendencies. Worship and devotion cleanse the mind of false delusions. Oh my God. You know what? We will be continuing this chapter for the rest of our life. It's such an intense and profound truth that is being taught. And let me tell you, this is very dangerous knowledge, because it is telling you what kind of a human being you are, and how much of effort you have to put. These are no jokes. This is what a human being lives today, and it's not so easy. Don't think here every verse my Gurudev can literally explain to just this one verse. He will explain for the rest of his life. And if you can just learn one word of this, your life is made worth it. Trust me. Impure negative emotions like anger, envy, etc. There's no exception to anybody who has taken this form as a body. Everybody goes through this in some form or the other. Ascription of the false vikshape and veiling of the true avaran are the three sources of error for mind. So he's talking about what are the errors that the mind does. So I think we've discussed enough of anger, envy. See, we are always angry of something or the other. There's no rhyme or reason. Anger can strike anybody at any time. There is no reason. It doesn't even require anything to trigger. Something you will be thinking from the past, and that one trigger is good enough for everything to be destroyed. Envy. We're always envying, oh, he has, I don't have. We're always short of something in our life. And a very beautiful thing which Lord Shri Krishna has taught in Bhagavad Gita is unfulfilled desires ensures anger. Okay, so even if you don't get something, see, all these anger comes because you've not got something in your life. You've desired a lot of things and nothing has been met. There is somewhere that it's bottled up within you. Whether you have never liked, okay, why am I born in this poor family? I didn't get this as a child. I wanted to go to a some big school and I didn't get, or I want to go to a different college, I didn't get. Oh, I want to wear this clothes, I didn't get. It's always I didn't get. How much you get bottled up throughout your life, and someday, it just bursts out. And then that anger, you're showing it on something else. It's not the root cause of anger is because you're bottled up, and you don't know when this is going to, it's like a volcano, and you're just going to burst out someday. And so please be checked. Why do you need it? Sometimes we need to accept, like, be thankful whatever God has given you. It's our karma. We come with a prarabdha karma. You need to first accept that it is because of your past sins is why you're suffering through this human birth. Whatever that has happened in your material world is only because of your past karmas. So why are you blaming God? God is not responsible for your life. Please know that you are responsible for your life. But what is the future life that you want? Are you going to make it worse than this? So why do you behave? Use this moment to be very good, very divine, attain the spiritual will so that your future lives are much better. You're not only redeeming yourself, but redeeming your purvaj, your ancestors, 7 generations above and 7 generations below. That's what you have to do. So why don't you focus on that? So don't keep ruining on things like I didn't get. Yes, we all go through in some point, in some capacity, okay? We always envy, oh, that person is unworthy, he's deserving. But why has he got? Because of his karma. He must have done something good. That is why he's enjoying that. But so it is in your hands. How do you want to overcome this? And that is what the Guru teaches. And then it's saying, actions performed without an expectation. Never do anything with having an expectation. When, again, expectation is another bigger source for misery. Because we expect someone to behave in a certain manner, we expect somebody to do a sweet talk, we expect somebody to be nice to us, and when none of those things are met, we are angry. Again, that leads us to become angry and destroy our own peace and life. Then it's saying actions performed without an expectation of fruit remove the impure. So yes, when you perform an action without the attachment to the fruits of that action, then you become pure. It removes all the impurities within you, the negative tendencies. Worship, it removes impurity, negative tendencies. Then worship and devotion cleanse the mind of false delusions. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. Worship and devotion cleanse the mind of false delusions. I think we're coming to the end of the hour, but I would like to take another 5 to max 10 minutes to complete this chapter. We have only another 5 verses to go. So apologies for the delay. Kindly be with me. So proper actions and worship performed in this way bring maturity to the doer's mind. When negative tendencies and delusions are thus eradicated, all that remains is the wailing of the truth. Oh my God. I know what, I don't know how much you are exhausted listening to this, but this is like, this one lesson is good enough for you to attain the spiritual level for the rest of your life. This is all you need to practice. There is nothing more to achieve beyond this, But this is not easy, let me tell you. You need the Guru's grace. It is your Guru who has to instruct you, and you have to practice this. And practice doesn't mean I do it one day, I don't do it another day. You have to become disciplined, and being disciplined is what extremely important. The mind is going to come. It's going to tell you you're not capable, and today you're tired, you sleep. It is not allowed. It's not going to allow you. It's not going to let you rise, but you have to fight that out and rise. That is when you will put that is what is called your self-effort. And when you rise with that effort, that is when you will shine, and that is when you will be able to overcome. And then the Guru will see how much you fight, and that is what he wants to see in you. So when negative tendencies and delusions are thus eradicated, all that remains is the wailing of the truth. And this veil, which is the root of all evil, is destroyed once knowledge appears, as darkness is destroyed by the rising of the sun. It is this Brahman which those proficient in the Vedanta have described as being characterized by truth, knowledge, infinity, which illumines the jnani who becomes self-absorbed. The traveler, walking alone through a jungle in the darkness of the night, which is only partially illumined by the dim moonlight, is startled, mistaking the stump of a tree for a robber, and hides himself in great fear. I walk alone, he muses, and I'm carrying money too. He, like a wayside robber, is lying in wait for me. What is there to think now? There is no guarantee even of this life. As I think you understand this, I don't have to give any explanations over here. But suddenly, as a lamp approaches in the distance and the reality of the supposed robber is revealed, his fear disappears, and he realizes that the robber was only an illusion. Yes, this whole world is like that. This whole life is like this. It's only an illusion. We are living in that delusion. When that knowledge illumines, when the truth, when you realize the truth, then this whole illusion will vanish away from your life. All you will have is that divine, that self illumination that happens. You will see that then everything was unreal. That fear will vanish. You will fear nothing. This is the truth. Then when you realize the truth, there's nothing to fear. You become fearlessness. You understand everything around you is just unreal. There is nothing to fear. So I have narrated to the listeners all the obstacles in the way of realizing the Brahman. In the next chapter, the nature of the highest bliss will be revealed to one who seeks such bliss. Hema rolls at Sai's feet and talks wildly. Whatever comes to his lips, may the simple, faithful once listen to whatever pleases Sai to make me utter. So please know that what all obstacle is there on the path of realizing the Brahman, it is not so easy. So don't think spirituality is for weak-hearted, and you need to be a chosen one. You need to have the divine grace to be on the path of spiritual. But the whole point is that when you at least get this grace to listen to the Parayan, to this satsang, please know that there is some grace. And when you make that effort, when the God's grace dawns on you, the Guru himself finds you. You don't have to find the Guru. So with this, we'll end this chapter. And thank you for listening and being here. And sorry for that extra 5 minutes. We'll be to all. Here ends the 16th chapter of Shri Sai Satcharita called Narration about Brahma-Jnana Part 1, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous and composed by his devotee Hemad Pant. Om Shri Maganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara, Om Shri Krishna Gurunathanatha, Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu, Krishna Vande Jagat Guru.